Hi, I'm Cindy Abbott Litro for Behind the Camera. And today, what we're going to be focusing on, we are in the Niagara Falls Visitor Center, and it's a beautiful sunny day up
Yes,
here,
it
which
is.
is picture
It's always
perfect.
sunny in
And we
Niagara
want
Falls.
we want tourists to see Niagara Falls at that point.
Yes.
Andrea Czopp is with us, and she is the Chief Operating Officer for Destination Niagara,
Yes.
which has the mission of really promoting this area as a tourism site. And I guess what I would ask, because Andrea, you've been, 10 years?
10 years I've been with this
In
organization.
Destination Niagara.
Yes.
So you would have a pretty good view of the traffic that you've had from different films. And have you seen a growth in that? Has there been...
Yeah, it's interesting because anytime there's movies filmed here, they garner so much interest from the people who watch the films. The one that I can speak to that really kicked it off since I've been here was the movie Tammy with Melissa McCarthy. And, the end is, the whole goal of the whole movie is for them to get to Niagara Falls. And I think that really was really beneficial to us because there's no way to really put in a dollar amount how many people see Niagara Falls. It's branding that we could never pay for, it's free advertising and everybody wants to see Niagara Falls. And then you see it on a movie on that level. And it's just, it's wonderful.
I was thinking about it. There has always been this fascination back to, when Marilyn Monroe did Niagara, that, this is a wonder of the world. It's a place that, people want to see. Excuse me. But have you seen a change of how they couch using the falls as
I think that with Niagara Falls, it's not necessarily always like with the movie Tammy, where it was the focal point, but a lot of times the falls and then even just some of the communities in Niagara County, the assets that we have in these communities, the nostalgia, the Americana with these small communities is even such a draw now, especially with the holiday movies that are so big here in Western New York now with filming, and they always want to find these quaint little towns and villages.
Well, I think about the fact that just recently, I remember one of the older, the motels that you have out on Niagara Falls Boulevard.
Yes.
That sort of quaintness.
Exactly.
That was something.
That was the Tom Hanks movie, A Man Called Otto. And there was a flashback scene in the movie where he and his wife, back in, I believe, the 60s or 70s, were in Niagara Falls on their honeymoon. And so the Moonlight Motel, which is a locally owned and operated motel here still on Niagara Falls Boulevard, was the perfect backdrop because those were the kinds of places back in the 60s and 70s that were so popular.
Well, what happens from a beginning to end when somebody scouts? I mean, how do you accommodate and how do you sort of give them what they want? Because in some ways you're reading their mind from long distance.
Sure. We work very closely with the Buffalo Niagara Film Commission. Tim Clark and his team are so wonderful, and they'll work with the scouts, and then if there's something in Niagara Falls or Niagara County that they're looking for in particular, he will come to us for recommendations. And in the case of the Moonlight Motel, for example, we knew that they were looking for a motel, a nostalgic throwback type style motel. And so we have a wonderful relationship with the owners of the Moonlight Motel. So we reached out, talked to her to see if she would be willing and interested in participating and being a location for this movie. And, they went out and took a look at the place. They loved it. And, the rest was history. So,
in Buffalo, one of the things that has become a phenomena is this whole idea of Christmas movies and Hallmark and others that are, there's this appetite, which seems to be unending for holiday films. Is there an opportunity for Niagara County in that area?
Absolutely. I was just on a Hallmark set with the Buffalo Niagara Film Commission a couple of months ago. They were filming in Youngstown, up in Youngstown, and because it's such a quaint little village, and a lot of times anybody who knows the Christmas movie genre, there's always a quaint little village involved or a quaint little town, and we have so much of that across Niagara County, and that was the perfect backdrop. And that for that specific movie, it was called A Newport Christmas. That will be on Hallmark this Christmas season, and it was wonderful to have that in the community because they didn't have to change anything. They didn't have to build sets. They didn't have to make it look quaint. It just already is.
And this was making Youngstown look like Newport, Rhode Island?
Exactly. So it was mimicking Newport, Rhode Island. I think some of it was actually filmed in Newport, but the producer of that particular Hallmark movie has just fallen in love with Western New York as a region for filming a lot of his movies. So, he chose to come here and do a good portion of that particular movie in Youngstown.
One of the things I was reading about that has changed is that, like, from the times of Marilyn Monroe to even Tammy, it's sort of like a one and done. They come here, they shoot, that's the location. But what the difference is that we're seeing with these Christmas films is that it's then become a location that people want to visit.
Yes.
And it's this phenomena that they call set jetting.
Yes.
Can you explain that?
So it's especially, I'll speak to it with the Christmas movie genre. Christmas movie fans are very loyal fans. And, just to see these places in person, I think is such a huge draw because they're so quaint, because they're so nostalgic, and everybody loves the nostalgia of Christmas. And so, speaking to that, Connecticut has done an amazing job capitalizing on all of the Christmas movies that have filmed in that state. They've even created a Christmas movie trail.
Wow.
Where you can go and visit all of the locations where all of these movies have been filmed, so that you can see them firsthand, and that's what everybody wants to experience. So I'd love to be able to mimic that in the future and partner with our friends in Buffalo.
Let me just ask, so that means that, for instance, if you saw somebody eating in a movie at a certain restaurant,
Yes.
or staying in a bed and breakfast,
Exactly.
right? These are things that are then
Yes.
connected. Do they contact the tourism agency?
No, I think, for instance, it seems just quite simply the way they've put it together is, I'll go back to the Newport Christmas film that was in Youngstown. They filmed at a local restaurant, a local bar and restaurant. So the Stone Jug. And so if that's on the trail, you don't really have to reach out to anybody. It's an open and operating establishment. So you can just go in and have a drink, have a sandwich, and look around and see what you can recognize from the movie.
And does it take any coordination on the part of the community to make sure that everything is tourist ready?
I would think that is something that we would want to make sure that we had a handle on first, is just to make sure that everybody was on board with doing something like that, so that they are tourist ready. You always want a property to be aware that we're going to be doing more to draw them in. So you certainly want them to be open and prepared, and for the influx of guests they might have.
Is this a big change that you're seeing in sort of the way that tourists come to an area?
I think it's just been this growing interest, especially since COVID, where people were in their houses for so much time, and they couldn't go anywhere. They were watching so many TV shows and so many movies, and it seems to have piqued their interest in seeing the locations that they see in these movies. I think it sort of inspired some wanderlust while they weren't able to travel, so that once the doors opened to the world again, and now they were able to go in wherever they wanted on vacation, now all the places that they were seeing and dreaming about while they were locked in the house, now these are places that they were choosing. So it's wonderful inspiration. Television is wonderful inspiration for travel.
Well, and the film industry has always been, at least here in New York State or in Western New York, the credits for it, that some folks say, well, I don't know if it really, I don't know if we're really seeing a return on our investment. Do you, from your point of view with Destination Niagara?
I don't think there's any doubt there's a huge return on the investment of all of these films that have been here, and TV shows. It's not just the production days, which can't be overlooked. The economic impact alone of just the production days, using local workforce on these sets, the food that they're going to eat in local restaurants, the hotel room nights that they're paying for. The economic impact alone of just during the production time is significant. But then on top of that, again, this longer term tourism promotion that we get out of it, it's this free advertising that we get that inspires people to come to this area.
So it shouldn't be too long before we see a Christmas trail in Western New York.
I will admit I'm a Christmas I'm a Hallmark Christmas fan myself, huge. So if there's an opportunity to do that, I know there's going to be a lot of Christmas movies being filmed here in the next several years. I think there's a huge opportunity to consider doing that. I'd love to.
That's great, Andrea. Thank you for all your work.
Sure.
Thank you for promoting this region and Niagara Falls, which is, we know it has a wonder of the world here, but there's so much more. Thank you.
So much more. Thank you.
Thanks. And we'll see you next time on Behind the Camera.